Jake Tapper and his team are working on that, and we'll have more developments coming up in the lead at the top of the hour. Now, an arc of terror spanning from the Middle East clear across Africa, and there's some new audio suggesting the purported leader of the Nigerian terror group Boko Haram is now seeking an alliance with ISIS. CNN is still working to verify the reports that the group, known for kidnapping hundreds of schoolgirls, has pledged allegiance to ISIS. This as Chad and Niger launched a new offensive, deploying hundreds of ground troops and conducting air raids in Nigeria today, attempting to erode Boko Haram's control over an area that's already bigger than ISIS's territory in Iraq and Syria. I want to bring in an expert on all this, J. Peter Pham, the director of the Atlantic Council's Africa Center and one of the preeminent U.S. experts on Boko Haram. Thank you so much for joining me. First, I want to get your take on this move, this so-called allegiance by Boko Haram. What's their motivation? Well,
Anna, this is a marriage, if you will, that's been in the makes for some time. The two have been courting each other. There have been shout-outs in social media and in their video productions. So this is a long time in coming. And right now, the timing is perfect for both groups. Boko Haram, for the first time in its history, is facing serious military pressure from Nigeria and other African countries that's whittling back the territory that's managed to seize and hold for so long. ISIS is facing pressure from the Kurdish forces as well as Iraqi government forces backed by Iran. So they're both needing a propaganda boost, a fillip of some kind, and this expansion of ISIS into the heart of Africa provides it at just that right time.
I think it's really interesting that this is not the first time, though, that Boko Haram has tried to align with other terrorist organizations, previously tried to align with Al-Qaeda, but you say Boko Haram and ISIS seem to be a better fit?
They are, because Boko Haram's indiscriminate, brutal strategy has horrified, even surprising as that may be, even some of the Al-Qaeda affiliates in Africa, which have put their distance between themselves and Boko Haram. So Boko Haram's pathological leader, Abu Bakr Shekau, his kidnapping of the schoolgirls, which made him infamous in the rest of the world, but his slaughter of tens of thousands of Nigerians, indiscriminate, and the filming of videos of executions, this is stuff right out of ISIS's playbook.
What about the power struggle with the two men at the helms of each of these organizations? I mean, could they really work together?
Well, distance, I think, will keep them from being at each other's throats. And for the moment, ISIS has the upper hand. Boko Haram is the one that's making the formal submission or allegiance to it. Now, in the short term, Anna, this is not going to have immediate impact other than the propaganda that they will each derive from it. The real question is whether in the long term, as an affiliate of ISIS, Boko Haram might become a place that foreign fighters, many of whom are in Libya, other places in North Africa, who are finding it harder to get to Syria and Iraq, might choose to flock to instead.
Well, that's an interesting thought, for sure. J. Peter Pham, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.